me just wait for Bonnie to get ready. Yeah. Yeah. We're good? Give us 1 minute, okay, boss? Okay, 1 minute. Hello, testing. Should we begin?
It's only 4:01, maybe 4:03.
4:03-ish? Yep. Gotcha. They really don't want to come up front, huh? I said they really don't want to come up front. All you need is, I think, 5 different color solid suits and 5 different color shirts, and you can make a combination of 100 pieces. All right, guys. Hello, testing. Thank you so much for joining us today. Day 1 is almost over. We'll try to do our best to make sure that you guys all get out of here by 5. But please make sure that we do our best so we get out of here by 5. My name is Bishro Fouillon. I'm with the Illinois Division of Rehabilitation Services, part of the Workforce Development Unit, and I'm joined by amazing folks from the Metro East area, some of whom I just met this year, along with one of my colleagues from DRS to talk about collaboration in workforce activities in the Metro East area. Before we begin, just a few housekeeping rules. This presentation is going to be very informal. It's going to be more of a dialogue where we'll be asking you guys questions, but we want you guys to ask us questions too, because we want to hear what you guys are doing in your workforce area and exchange that information. So it's a collaboration of sorts. And then I don't know if you guys have noticed, there are 4 folks here, each of them representing the 4 core titles. I've been attending the WIOA Summit for 4 or 5 years, and I've rarely sat in on a conversation where you had a core partner from each entity be part of a panel conversation. So that speaks to the collaboration that you guys do in Metro East and other parts of the state. We're just here to talk about partnership and collaboration. And the keynote speaker had a quote this morning when he closed off his opening remarks about the power of collaboration. I'm not going to read everything that's in the middle because I didn't capture it all, but he says that progress demands collaboration in order to break down silos, and once you do that, that's when you're just expanding a lot of opportunities. So granted, a lot of the activities that they're going to be talking about today may be just geared towards their constituents, but because of the collaboration that they've had with each other and other community organizations, not only are they able to help the folks that they work directly with, but people that come in and out of the job center on a daily basis. So just to kind of gauge just to kind of gauge the audience, how many folks are here that are part of like a business service team in a workforce area? So about half of you guys, and you guys, I'm assuming, and I hope you guys are regularly, frequently collaborating with your core partners and other entities that have a stake in workforce development. Nice. And who's here for the first time? Who's at the WIOA Summit for the first time? Great, awesome. Well, welcome. All right, so I know I just gave a lot of spiel about the benefits of collaboration, but WIOA was designed for that purpose, to allow workforce development agencies that serve job seekers that are underutilized, underrepresented, to speak to each other so they can bring as many optimal opportunities for job seekers in their community. It also streamlines training opportunities, employer contacts. There's just a lot of efficiency when it comes to the statute under WIOA, and it's asked for partners to collaborate and utilize business service integration. And it's really to provide that optimal service to a job seeker, regardless of who they are, what their background is, to ensure that they are accessing all the services that each partner provides. And obviously, the 4 folks that are here in this panel will be talking about them individually. And because of that, it gives an employer a la carte of services in terms of accessing the right type of job seekers, accessing the right type of support. It's really a extremely useful tool for an employer. It's just a matter of showing to the employer the consistency in our partnership and how it can impact them positively. And it just makes things much more efficient because there's a lot of sharing of data, sharing of knowledge, sharing of technical assistance that just makes each other's work a lot easier when it comes to helping out job seekers and employers. And I'm not going to read through all of this here. These aren't testimonials or something that ChatGPT spit it out. These are just facts. When there's collaboration, really in all setting, any team setting or any dynamic setting, you're going to have positive outcomes. That's going to be helpful not just to the employer and the job seeker, but also the workforce development community, because we can lean on each other to assist with the most challenging job seekers or with a very challenging opportunity. And if you're able to do that together, then you'll obviously have much better outcomes. And it also gives inclusive access, meaning most of the people that come to an American Job Center aren't MIT grads or Harvard grads that are looking for work. It's folks that need a lot of support, need a lot of services, folks that have been underutilized and overlooked in the past, to have us speak to each other and or have us speak with each other so we can provide the most targeted, effective service for that job seeker. So we're going to be talking about the Metro East area. The map here, there's a lot of stuff going on. And as you can see, it's just not cross-county collaboration, it's cross-state collaboration. And our partners will tell you some of the work that they've done just based geographically on where they're located and how they're accessing services that's available to job seekers on both sides of the river. So with that being said, I'm going to introduce our Title I partner, Ms. Bonnie Forker, and then she'll pass it on to the remaining partners here. Bonnie, all yours.
Thanks, Liz. Hello, everybody. My name is Bonnie Forker. I'm the Regional Apprenticeship Navigator for St. Clair County. I cover 9 counties in the Employment Department, EDR Region 9, okay? So part of my position is not only collaborating with employers and trying to assist them in setting up registered apprenticeships. I also I'm also part of the business services team. So with that, I also assist businesses with recruiting. I assist businesses with hiring through and reimbursements through our on-the-job training program. I talk to them about other grant incentives we have through WIOA that they may be eligible for. And then I also work with job seekers trying to help pair them up with the employers that I'm working with. We had, a few years ago, the state put out a directive that they want integrated business services team for each region. So we have a wonderful business services team. These are 4 of our partners here today, but we have many more. They are just a wonderful group. Couldn't ask for anything more. I'm not gonna go on to all that. So EDR 9, that's our region, covers 9 Metro East counties. There's the counties that we serve, or I serve. We also work directly with St. Louis City, St. Louis County, and St. Charles, and Jeff Frank as well. We collaborate on many things with them. So, regional collaboration and resources. So our partners work together to make referrals for job seekers to food banks, clothing assistance, rental assistance, utility assistance, GED or ESL assistance for job seekers. We also work especially with job seekers with disabilities, and they are referred to Voc Rehab, which is one of our partners, or one of our providers like Challenge Unlimited and MERS Goodwill. Employers are referred to our partners if they state they are looking to recruit or hire from a selective talent pool. So in that way, we increase their talent pipeline to include populations that they may not have realized that they could have access to. We refer job seekers to open apprenticeship opportunities in our region, refer job seekers and employers to networking opportunities, and we share and refer special training opportunities for HR, businesses, and job seekers, entrepreneurial training, grant writing training, all that we share with each other. So, one of the wonderful collaborations we recently did, my office recently did, was with Challenge Unlimited. I worked with one of their employment specialists, and she had an individual who was on the spectrum that was having difficulty finding employment. She only was in work study in high school, and she really loved working with cats and dogs, and she had chores at home where she took care of her cats and dogs at home. So I met with Elle, I'm just going to call her Elle, and she told me how much she just loves cats and dogs and remote controlled airplanes. So we had a really good discussion. I had been trying to approach Belleville Area Humane Society in our area to work with us and hire someone under OJT. We just never found a really good fit. But after meeting Elle, I thought, wow, this would be awesome. And her employment specialist had actually already talked to Belleville Area Humane Society. And so we decided that we were going to go meet with Belleville Area Humane Society and pitch for them to hire Elle. I offered on-the-job training reimbursement, where for up to 6 months, they would get reimbursed up to 75% of Elle's wages while she was in training with them, and they hired her. So it took a couple of weeks, almost 3 weeks actually, but Elle was hired. She loves her job. She's learning how to count. She's learning how to clean the kennels and play. She does get distracted playing with the dogs and cats. So we're working on that for her. But she's doing wonderful, and the employer is very happy. Another collaboration was with MERS Goodwill. This happened after a chamber meeting. I had a chamber meeting at Tie-Dyed Iguana, which is a local store in our area that sells reptiles and amphibians. Very cool store, okay? Talked to the owner, and he was looking for someone to hire for their lead feed room. Well, the feed room was where they bred the rats and mice and stuff to feed the reptiles and amphibians. So we thought we had someone. I had sent out a blast for the job like I normally do, trying to fill that position. And the job developer for MERS Goodwill called me and she says, I think I have someone that would be a really good fit for that company. So I said, well, awesome. So put her in touch with the owner, set up a tour. During the tour, it was decided that the feed room might not be the best position for G. I'm going to call her G. G is legally blind, uses a cane. She's on the spectrum, and she also has ADD. So we decided after she toured the feed room, that probably wasn't going to be a good fit for her. But the employer was so impressed with her, and he really said, he goes, I really need to find some place for her. So he went back to his management team, who also met with G, and they came up with a job especially for G. So now she's working in their social media department. She's doing their blogs. She's learning new things about social media, posting what's appropriate, what's not appropriate. She's getting along great with her supervisors and her coworkers. The only issue now is just the social integration that people do when they get their first position. So very happy about those collaborations. Okay, and so next is Jill Dupie. Dupie.
That's okay. Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Jill Dupie. I'm the outreach specialist at Lewis and Clark Community College. I represent Title II, and my primary role there is to build relationships with our community partners and with community members. So first, I just wanted to give a little background information about what adult education is. We are governed by the Adult Education and Family Literacy Act, which basically governs who we can serve and the parameters around serving community members. Excuse me. So our primary goal is to help adults who need to increase their math and literacy, reading and writing skills. I'm sure many of you know that. And I just want to point out that we now call it the Illinois High School Diploma. So we work with adults who want to earn their Illinois High School Diploma and get into the workforce. Sorry. So we also offer English second language classes and bridge courses. These bridge courses provide to bridge basically the gap between to ensure success in post-secondary education and career paths. And then the ICAPS courses, how many of you have heard of ICAPS before? Okay, good. So ICAPS courses prepare students for the workforce and provide training for a specific career or to go into for educational and career advancement. And then also we offer Youth Build course, Youth Build, which is our program for out-of-school youth who are ages 16 to 24, where they are able to simultaneously earn their high school diploma and be trained in the trades. So now I just want to talk about the collaborations, because that's our goal today, is to focus on our collaborations. And we collaborate a lot with other community colleges. Specifically, we have Project Read, which is our program that is our free tutoring for adults over 17 in math, reading, or English language. And we also work with the Metro Literacy Council, and we provide a tutor workshop. Between the different colleges, we're very closely connected to SWIC, where our district lines are. So we basically refer back and forth if students are closer to their district, or we don't pull students from other districts, of course. We just make sure that they go to the program that's appropriate for them. And I work a lot with people from SWIC and participate in a lot of different meetings and community organization events with them. We also participate in job and resource fairs and a lot of different community events. And that's a big part of my job, is to be out in the community and make those connections with our community organizations. I also wanted to point out that we connected up here. I have all of our colleges kind of in our region pointed out. Is there anybody from any of these colleges here? Besides Lewis and Clark, 'cause that's me. Okay, so we actually did a WIOA summit or online workshop for employers, and Jenny Reed was a big part of that. And we provided information and collaborated with these other colleges about what we do and how we can provide services for employees with them. And then also I wanted to talk about how we collaborate with various community organizations. Like I said, a big part of my job is to connect with community organizations. And I sit on a lot of community councils or committees. I'm from Madison County, and so Madison County has a committee for a partnership to end homelessness. So I go to those meetings and participate in a yearly event called Homeless Connect, where we work with our unhoused community members and provide them with resources and get them connected to job opportunities and so forth. And then I also host a bi-monthly networking group where we invite people to either join us remotely or come to our campus, and we network among community organizations. We have a speaker each month who talks about what they provide and the services that they provide, and then everyone has an opportunity to kind of share out what they have going on. And that, quite honestly, has been really successful because a lot of people make connections with other organizations in the community, and they're like, oh, you have this? Well, I have a client or a customer or someone I'm serving right now. And I think that's been probably one of my most favorite things that I do for our community specifically. And I'm not going to give you a lesson on all the titles, but I just wanted to talk really quickly about how we collaborate with each of these titles. First of all, Title I is the Youth and Adult and Dislocated Worker Program. And because I'm in Madison County, I work a lot with Madison County Employment and Training. And they help us because they provide work dollars for our youth, and we make mutual referrals back and forth for people who are dislocated workers or people who are reentering. And then we also have a monthly cross-training meeting with them where we, again, have a speaker with one of our required partners who come in and talk about what they have going on and kind of just remind everybody of the services that they provide. In Title II, we connect with TANF, who makes referrals to us for education and training. And that is very important because it continues to allow those people who are using TANF services to receive funding for them. And then with Title III, we collaborate to determine market demands in our region to inform our trainings and offerings in adult education. And then with our collaboration with Title IV, they help with providing accommodations to our participants so that they can get their testings that they need or funding for career programs to attend college. And like I said, I've already talked a little bit about TANF and a little bit about Youth Build, and just want to point out that we do often use the CSBG, which is the Community Services Block Grant, to help our students who need help funding for tests and to provide those dollars for training in CNA or CDL. And I just want to say that our partnership with employment and training and one-stop job centers is a really, really important component of what we do, because without that connection, we wouldn't have such a successful program. So our program allows our students to come in and get their education and get training so that they can go straight to work once they earn their high school diploma. And so with that, I just want to end with my last slide that talks a little bit about the benefits of education for employees and employers. After all that this is said and done, I hope you can see that a small component of how education is so important to the success of the community members that we all serve, and how when they have an education, it increases their skills and their productivity. And as we all know, that increases their confidence and their ability to get out into the workforce, and then hopefully provide them with career advancement opportunities. So I'd like to transition over here to my friend Freddie, who is going to talk a little bit more about Title III.
All right, my name is Freddie Buckingham. I'm the Southern Region Business Service Manager for the Department of Employment Security. Everyone knows the Department of Employment Security as our unemployment insurance programs, but we also have employment service programs where we work with job seekers directly. We have business services where we conduct outreach in support of our own services as well as our partner services. And we have a labor market information team that goes out and does statistical analysis. I can't believe I got to say that word right. And can also help out our partners in any data that they might need. So talk a little bit about our employment services. We do a lot of special programs like reentry and Hire the Future. We have a veterans program. We also do a reemployment service and eligibility assessment, which is for job seekers that might go and exhaust their unemployment benefits, try to get ahead of that. We do all of our services on IllinoisJobLink.com. IllinoisJobLink.com is our state free job board. It is a free service for both job seekers and businesses. It is also how we report up to DOL. We put all of our jobs, what we do, into the system, and we report up our performance measures through this program. So I want to talk a little bit about what we do together. So our employment service team will refer out to our other title partners. As you can see here, I took the last year and referrals and put it on the spreadsheet here for you guys to see. What's not here that we also do is referrals out to food pantries, to transportation. For the veterans, we will refer them out to IDVA or the Veterans Affairs. Anything to help them overcome barriers to employment. All right, so job seeker workshops, we'll talk about this for a second. Our employment service staff puts on their own job seeker workshops. They do their own outreach for that. But we will also support our title partners workshops. We will help, our business service teams helps our folks like Off-Base Transition organize a workshop at our local American Job Centers. And every workshop that we do outreach to our job seekers utilizing our email blast system. We will also put all of our events out on our event outreach page on our website. All right, so hiring events, we also get involved in hiring events quite a bit. My team is the business service team. We will put out on single employer hiring events all the time. We also support our partners in their job fairs. We can do this by employer recruitment through our email blast system and individualized recruitment efforts. We reach out to job seekers and send out email blasts for the job fairs. We will also put them on our event calendar and the Illinois Workday event calendar. Some of the job fairs, as you see, are our own, but we also have the SWIC job fair on here, the Lewis and Clark job fair on here, where we've supported our partners. One job fair or virtual event that I want to talk about briefly is our reentry virtual job fair. This is a partnership that we do with DOC. We put on a virtual job fair every quarter for those getting ready to get out within 90 days of release, coming back to our bottom 42 counties. And what we'll do is we have the 4 titles brief on services that they can provide when they get out. And we also recruit employers from the local areas to brief on some of the jobs that they have available. So we normally have about 8 to 10 employers join us on these events. They've been going on for the last 3 years now. We just finished up one on April 30th. Some of the other outreach that we could do, we do employer workshops. We do our own, and we also help out with our partners. This is, for example, the apprenticeship roundtable that happened in October. We also can do outreach for our partners' programs. I have sent out an email blast for adult education, CNA classes, Illinois Manufacturing Associations. If you need help with your outreach, just get in touch with us and we can help you out. So briefly talking about our labor market information team, they do statistical analysis. I can't believe I said it right again. I normally cannot get that word right at all. And they post this on our websites, but they can also look up information for our title folks that are getting ready to do grant work. they've done that multiple times in my area. Some of the other programs that we do is Work Opportunity Tax Credit, Fidelity Bonding, and WorkShare Illinois, which is a newer program that is a layoff aversion program. And I think that's all I have. So the next I'll be going with Jenny.
Yeah, so before Jenny comes up, I just want to underscore one thing that Bonnie mentioned earlier about one of the job seekers, Elle, who was looking for a employment opportunity at the Belleville Area Humane Society. She's someone with a disability, probably engaged in VR services. She was referred to one of our community partners, Challenges Unlimited. They came to the American Job Center looking for work, met with Bonnie. Bonnie found an employer. Initially, they were reluctant, but because of the Title I OJT dollars, they were able to bring the job seeker in. They like her. It worked out, and it wasn't just VR going out and helping Elle find this work. It was Title I. It was our community partner. It was the employer. So I mean, it really takes a village. I know that sounds very cliche, and you've heard from Jill and Freddie. Most of the outreach effort and the work that they're doing is really tapping into communities that are usually under-resourced or underutilized. So just wanted to kind of put that into focus, and I'm sure there are many stories like that in other workforce areas. I know there's going to be one in Will County come fall where there's a nice collaboration between 1 and 4 to help out the job seeker with a disability. So just wanted to kind of put that into context and then pass it over to Jenny.
All right. Okay, thank you, Biz. Thank you, everybody. Hello, everybody. You've made it this far. We're almost done. As soon as we are done here, you can go enjoy those 2 free cocktails over at the bar. So I will try to be thorough but brief. My name is Jenny Reed, and I am a business employment consultant for the Illinois Division of Rehabilitation Services. And yes, thank you. Thank you, Dr. Patrick. Okay, so what that is, for those of you that are new to the Workforce Summits, we are the Title IV partner, and we work with individuals that have disabilities. We have 2 main subsections that we do: home services, which helps people with disabilities live independently in their own homes, and vocational rehabilitation, which is what I do, which helps individuals with disabilities that are actively wanting to be working to help get the education, training, and career connections that they need in order to be successful. So my counties that I cover, I have 25 counties in West Central Illinois, and my territory snakes right along the Mississippi River. So I work very closely with the Missouri Division of Rehabilitation Services, almost seamlessly in a lot of my areas, because I'm so close to them in a lot of the territories that I serve, and particularly within the Metro East area, which is the Illinois suburbs of St. Louis. For those of you that are not familiar, all of the Fortune 500 headquarters and regional headquarters are all on the Missouri side of the river. So we really do need to make it a point to be seamless and to really integrate ourselves well, not only with our Illinois partners, but for us, especially with where we are located with our Missouri partners as well. Okay, so here's just a little bit of a map of the collaboration I know across the state. Obviously, the border states for us are Missouri. For us, Iowa, Wisconsin, Indiana, and a little bit of Kentucky. So for those of us within, I would say, an hour especially of a border, we really need to familiarize ourselves with the staff and with the employers on the other side of that border as well. So just quick raise of hands, who is within an hour of a border of another state? Okay, fantastic. So that looks like definitely the majority of us. So being that close, having job seekers that close, that's really important for us to be making those connections with the other states. Because if there is an employer worth commuting for, and they have the means to do it, I know especially in and around the Metro East area, public transportation is much more readily accessible within that area, so they're willing to commute. If there's a job at a Fortune 500 company, I would be willing to commute across the river. I would be willing to commute to a different state, and vice versa. So knowing what's out there and knowing partnerships within the different states has been really, really beneficial. And there's a lot that we can learn. There's a lot that we're learning about our partners here. A lot of us, especially that are new or maybe not as familiar with what even we do within the state of Illinois. I'm always learning new things. I've been with this particular department for about 1.5 years, but I've been with the state for over 7 years at this point in time, and I'm still learning new information about new things that our partners are doing. So we can really learn and try to adapt what is working well in other states and try to take that information back with us wherever we can as well. A couple of things that we have been working on, particularly with our partners in Missouri. We are constantly sharing job leads. I actually live in Missouri currently, so I'm going to a lot of Missouri job fairs. Again, Missouri is the bigger partner, the bigger player where we are located within the Metro East. So there's a lot of multi-employer job fairs and diversity job fairs on the Missouri side of the river. So that's where we do get a big bulk of our networking. So I'm constantly going to Missouri job fairs and saying to Missouri DRS, here's my Missouri employers that I was in contact with, and then vice versa, when they go to, or even a Missouri job fair, Illinois job fair, and they're making connections with Illinois employers, they're always happy to pass that information back along with me as well, which is so beneficial and efficient for the employers as well to not be talking to multiple people, explaining what they're doing to multiple people, but to kind of get that one-stop shop where we can make sure that they are getting taken care of across the board and know that they are heard. Some collaborations that we have done, so that virtual collaboration that we had done back in February, I know Jill had touched on that a little bit. We were fortunate enough that Missouri DRS was able to attend and to speak on their services as well, and we did have some Missouri employers do that, where we were able to touch base virtually with the employers in my different business service team territories and say, hey, you guys may be new, you may not be familiar with our services. These are complementary services that we're really wanting to do to assist both the employer and the job seeker and to have a good collaboration for everybody. We worked on that. They're great partners. The photo is of that that presentation that we had done. And then we worked with them a lot of times on tours for employers and virtual employer meet and greets. So if I make a connection with an employer, again, why are they saying the same information multiple times? Especially if they are a Missouri employer, I'm more than happy to invite Missouri Division of Rehabilitation Services because we want to make sure that our clientele is getting taken care of correctly. We want to make sure that that the employers are getting taken care of correctly. So I'm all about efficiency, and the employers have really appreciated having that connection there as well. And then just networking connections within the community, within the resources. Again, Missouri is the larger in our area, is where the majority is. And I know that Brooke at one of the other sessions was talking about tourism a little bit. So even your jobs that you're like, man, this is a little bit, if you have a job seeker that is wanting something outside of the realm of, you know, what a lot of standard communities have, St. Louis is the one that has the zoo, the aquarium, the riverboat, and different things that would interest different job seekers in that area. So having that seamless collaboration has really been beneficial. Speaking of our partners with Missouri, even though they couldn't be here with us in person, we do have a little bit of message from Scott Lures and Patrick Gaines with the Missouri Division of Rehabilitation Services. So let me go ahead and get those played here for you really quickly.
Hello, everyone. My name is Scott Lures, and I'm a business services representative for Missouri Vocational Rehabilitation. The Workforce Innovation and Opportunity Act was signed into law on July 22, 2014. The goal is to strengthen the workforce system and to help people get into high-quality jobs and careers. In addition, we want to help employers hire and retain skilled workers. This dual customer approach means that the needs of both job seeker and employer are met. We want everyone to succeed. It is extremely important for neighboring states to work together to improve employment opportunities and the quality of life for our job seekers. People in Illinois might choose to work in Missouri and vice versa. Having open communication between states helps to minimize the duplication of efforts and ensure that our job seekers receive the most appropriate support in the most efficient manner. Open communication through interagency meetings and electronic communication ensures that we can work together on specific projects like training programs or exploring new avenues of employment. We can also share best practices to improve the overall quality and effectiveness of our services. For the employer, we can share information about WIOA and federal bonding, the Job Accommodation Network, assist with diversity and inclusion efforts, and bring assistive technology to the forefront. We can promote and market employers through site tours, job shadow opportunities, and disseminate job postings. We can market your existing apprenticeships, become a partner in developing apprenticeships, and help set up on-the-job training opportunities. Both Missouri and Illinois have nexus groups, which is a collaboration between employers and service agencies to bridge the gap between employer needs and a collaborative pool of job-ready candidates. As Missouri and Illinois work together, we're ready to serve employers and our job seekers. If you would like more information, please reach out to the Business Services team. Thank you, and have a great day.
Okay, thank you. And then now a message from Patrick Geens with Missouri Blind Services.
Hi, I'm Patrick Geens, Job Development Specialist with Missouri Rehabilitation Services for the Blind. I'd like to take this opportunity to add on to the excellent breakdown you just saw by my partner, Scott Lewis. Scott spoke about the importance of collaborations between vocational rehabilitation professionals in both Missouri and Illinois with respect to the Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act, WIOA. Scott already gave an excellent breakdown on the specific ways VR organizations in Missouri and Illinois can do and work toward improving the lives and opportunities for the clients we serve. I wanted to take a minute to talk about why WIOA partnerships are important to WIOA partners, employers, and job seekers. The dual customer approach that Scott spoke about simply means we recognize the mutual goals and interests of all parties involved. Job seekers with specific barriers to employment, employers looking to fill difficult and challenging positions, and lastly, VR professionals whose task it is to bring the parties together. State and regional lines add another dimension to this process. But like all other challenges we face, the solutions to overcoming them are found in partnerships like MoVR, Illinois DRS, and our regional nexus groups. But to bring it all down to a specific and personal level, I recently placed a client who lives on the Missouri side with a manufacturer on the Illinois side of the river. Visually impaired job seekers face unique barriers to finding opportunities, and transportation is chief among them. Those challenges make our clients the most difficult to employ. Geographic proximity to the employer facility and where my client lives actually made it a more viable option in this case. Where the St. Louis transit system only provides services to state and county borders, the Illinois transit system provides service in this instance to augment travel from the state border to the employment facility in nearby Sauget, Illinois. This is an example of the kind of innovations and partnerships that Scott spoke about, and they work to provide a benefit to all parties involved. This kind of success story is just an example of the possibilities that come from the hard work of professionals in the private sector, the public sector, and citizens in both Missouri and Illinois. And we look forward to doing and furthering this work in the future. Thank you for your time.
Okay, so I know that they're not physically here with us, but as the session is being recorded, big round of applause for Missouri DRS. Okay, thank you. They really are just phenomenal partners. All of the partners here in the Metro East are just such a seamless partnership that I've really enjoyed being a part of and being able to work with and collaborate, not only for our job seekers, but for our employers as well. I know Scott talked a little bit about that dual customer approach, that we don't necessarily use that terminology, but we absolutely do have that dual customer. What I would really encourage all of us to do is to take a holistic approach as to partnerships, networking, and our community involvement. I know Jill had talked a little bit about nonprofits and community organizations. I have found that integrating yourself with those nonprofits and community organizations has been so beneficial, not only for our job seekers, but for our employers as well. I think sometimes it's easy to get wrapped up in our own jobs and our own titles and what falls under our own job descriptions, that it's hard to forget about how everything impacts just about everything else in life as well. If I were to send a job seeker to an employer that did not have adequate resources to be successful, that would not continue to garner a good relationship with that employer, and they would not want to work with us in the future. So making those connections with those community partnerships, if a job seeker doesn't have a home to go to, they can't dependably show up to work at 8 o'clock in the morning. If they don't have laundry services to make sure that they have clean clothes to show up to work, they cannot be presenting their best self. The most common reason that a person will be let go from a job is if they are pointing out. So too many tardies and too many absences. If they don't have the community resources in place to be successful, then they will not be successful, and the employer will consider that to not be a success and not want to work with us in the future. So making those connections, learning about the community resources, learning about what is available to our job seekers in our community can help not only our job seekers, but by extension, the employers, by making sure that they are adequately prepared for those jobs that they are prepared for. In addition to our partnerships with nonprofit organizations, it's really beneficial to be making partnerships and connections within the community. Some areas where you can do that is Chamber of Commerce. That definitely is an easier way to get in front of people, to have those conversations with them. You may or may not remember what we said in this presentation today. You may or may not remember what we said in any of the presentations that we did talk about at WIOA Summit. When you go home today and you're talking to your spouses, you're talking to your kids, when you go back to your offices and they say, "What did you take away from this presentation?" You're probably going to say, "We had tacos for lunch, and I talked with so many people in between the breaks. I talked with so many people at lunch. I talked with so many people grabbing cocktails afterwards." And those are building those relationships and building those connections that you really take with you and really remember. How I got my job with the state of Illinois, very glamorous. I was laid off from working at Battle Rock College. I went in to file for unemployment at the IDES office and knew somebody that was working there, and she actually said, "Well, we actually have a few open positions here." This was back when we had to go and test in Springfield. Said, "Make sure that you fill out your CMS 100. Make sure you go and test. This is going to be closing soon. Test for as many things as you possibly can." I worked for IDES for 6 years and then have been with Division of Rehabilitation Services for another 1.5 years since then. So making those connections, quick show of hands, how many of you have gotten a job from networking, from connections? Almost every job that I've had has come eventually because of connections that I've had and connections that I have made. So Chamber of Commerce, again, a great way to get in front of those employers, make those connections. SHRM, I'm trying to talk my supervisor Biz into giving us all national SHRM memberships. No pressure, Director Patrick, on that one. Rotary clubs, Kiwanis, entrepreneur organizations, and you know how many business deals are made on the golf course every day. My brother-in-law is a banker, and he makes the bulk of his deals on the golf course and on the cricket course. So what you can take away from this presentation is, again, we had tacos for lunch, and to ask ChatGPT to come up with a 5-point argument, data-driven, as to why you need to talk your board into getting you access for a country club membership and to let you off on Fridays for golfing, to make your connections there. But no, in general, I do want us all to have that holistic approach because we can really get consumed with this is my role and my job when everything that we do touches everything else. So again, that conversation with those community organizations, if we are sending ill-prepared people into the workforce, those employers are not going to want to continue to do work with us. If you feel like you're ill-prepared to talk at SHRM, but you want to go and you want to attend and you want to have lunch and you want to shake some hands and you want to network there, that is just as important, if not more important, than actually speaking at those events. So with that, just a couple of questions for you guys. Back a little bit to those interstate collaborations. And again, those interstate collaborations are immediately touching Illinois, Wisconsin, Iowa, Missouri, Indiana, and Kentucky. We almost forgot Kentucky. Real quick show of hands, who is within an hour or less commute to Wisconsin from where you're at? Okay, a lot of up north people. What about Iowa? Okay, a couple for Iowa. Missouri. Woo! Indiana. Oh, a lot more Indiana than I expected. And Kentucky. Oh, poor Kentucky. Okay, what are some practices that you have seen with your bordering state partners that you have really liked, and how can we implement them there? So I'd love to open this up for discussion. Who has some partners?
Well, there's 5 states. Go and get them.
So I'm on the border of St. Louis, 12 miles from downtown St. Louis. And first off, I've been doing this about 15 years, and it wasn't that long ago that not only the partners in Illinois didn't talk to each other, they were all siloed, but Missouri and Illinois never talked to each other. So incredibly proud of the work that has been done. I think the best thing that happened for us was when we got below the radar of politics and the partners just began to talk together and started to come together quarterly with the counties that you had mentioned, and that's gone on for 8, 9, maybe 10 years, Bonnie. One of the best collaborations that's come out of this, I think, is the Connections for Success, working with individuals with disabilities. And if you want to speak to that, I think that's just an incredible opportunity.
Yes. So, oh gosh, it was about 7 or 8 years ago maybe. I used to work for Slate in St. Louis City, basically doing the same thing I am now. And we were approached to create an event that would train employers, educate employers on how to interview, recruit, and get referrals for people with disabilities. So our director back then, they made it an actual workforce investment board management meeting with both sides, well, with St. Charles, St. Louis City, St. Louis County, Jeff Frank, St. Clair County, and Madison County. All the board of directors got together and they created an event called Accommodations for Success. The very first event that happened drew over 300 employers. It was workshops based on, like I said, interviewing, recruiting, eliminating biases when you're posting job descriptions, just a wealth of information for employers on how to hire people with various disabilities. Then afterwards, we had a massive job fair where I think it was like 600 people. We had it at St. Louis Community College in Flow Valley, where over 600 job seekers showed up. And those employers utilized what they learned from some of the workshops to address and interview some of those people with disabilities. So it was very successful. We had it yearly. until COVID hit. And then we started it back up 2 years ago. Our region, St. Clair County, started it up again at Accommodation for Success. We had about 80, this time we didn't have the job seeker part, we just had the training for the employers. And we had a panel of partners that assist with employing people with disabilities and working with employers. They gave a panel presentation. But that just a few years ago, that kicked off a wonderful relationship between both sides of the river, Voc Rehab, WIOA, the colleges, MERS Goodwill, Challenge Unlimited. We just had so many people come to the table for Accommodations for Success. This year, Accommodations for Success is in St. Louis County's hands. We're working on trying to find a venue. We're hoping to have that information out later this year. But we'd love to invite people, employers, to come to this, get educated, and then we're hoping we can have a reverse job fair after we train the employers. And if you've never been to a reverse job fair, it is awesome. So what happens is the job seeker sets up a booth, markets themselves, their resume. We teach them how to do a resume, how to market themselves with their booth, and the employers go in and then go to each table and talk to the job seekers. It's actually more successful than a regular job fair. The employers love it, the job seekers love it, so we're hoping that we get to do that this year. Rick, is that what you wanted me to? Okay.
Just doing a quick time check. We have 5 minutes, so we can take a few questions, but just wanted to let everyone know here and virtually that if your question does not get answered, we'll make sure that you will get a response from at least one of us. So with that being said, any last minute questions before we close the day and enjoy our evenings? Yeah, so the QR code here will give you access to a Google Drive folder that has several supplemental information, contact information, resources in the area. And I guess, we can end it just by saying, go and talk to your neighboring states if you haven't done so. I think as workforce development professionals, we should always think outside of the box, but now I think we should think outside of the borders too. In my experience and the collaboration I've had with a lot of workforce partners here, we've had more success where there's cross-collaboration between partners, cross-collaboration between workforce areas, and now you see that there's a lot of success when there's cross-collaboration between two states. So I think more collaboration, the better the outcome, but I'm still not going to root for the Cardinals. Have a good night.